All right, guys, welcome back once again. In this one, I got my Big 12 tournament predictions. So the first round already happened. The second round started today, and this first game, Iowa State and Cincinnati, actually already got played. I picked Iowa State. I think you're just gonna have to trust me on that one, but they did in fact win that one, so I'm just gonna do that. Then we got Colorado and West Virginia. Colorado was the upset win over TCU, and West Virginia is still, I think they're projected a 9 seed right now in the NCAA tournament. So they're sitting a little bit they're sitting pretty comfortably, but a loss to Colorado would definitely hurt them. But I don't think that's really something they're gonna have to worry about. I got West Virginia. Then Kansas State and Baylor. This could be a sneaky good matchup. Kansas State has been playing like surprisingly well here towards the end of the season. Or they've kind of faltered a little bit towards the end, but they were playing really well for a stretch of like 2, 3 weeks in February. Taking on a Baylor team that, according to Baylor standards, has fell short of their expectations. They were a preseason top 10 team. And when you've got talent like guys like VJ Edgecombe, who's a projected lottery pick, you do expect better things out of them. But I don't think that Kansas State is going to be able to take Baylor down in this situation. So I'm going with Baylor. Kansas and UCF, speaking of underperforming, how about the preseason number one, currently sitting at 20 and 11 and sixth in the Big 12 conference? Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. And granted, maybe it was, guess, the media's fault for overhyping them, putting them at number one when clearly they just weren't that team. But Kansas also started the season really, like, really well. They beat Michigan State, which at the time Michigan State was unranked, but it looks a lot better now. And they also beat Duke. Like, don't forget that. So this Kansas team definitely has what it takes. They're not going to lose to UCF, so I'll just get that out of the way. They're definitely going to beat UCF. But yeah, it's been a disappointing year for them, but they got a chance to get some momentum here. Iowa State and BYU. BYU, I think, is the hottest team in the conference. They've been just playing incredibly well. Yes, I think they're the hottest team, not Houston. And the only reason I say that is because Houston's just been so solid all year long. It's kind of like they're not even hot. They're just like doing their thing, which is win games, and it's not really a surprise to anybody. But BYU, they've really been balling out there in Utah. So yeah, they've been playing really well. They just won at Hilton Stadium, which is Iowa's home stadium, I think last week, and I don't think Iowa State's gonna like that. Iowa State was projected to finish third, I think, or maybe second this year in the Big 12, and they've returned pretty much everybody from that really great Big 12 champion team last year with Gilbert, Curtis Jones, Lipsy, Milan Momcilovic. They haven't really been that healthy, but I think they're starting to get healthy finally once again. And although they lost to BYU last week, I think they're going to play a little bit of spoiler here and take out the Cougars and advance to the semis. Then Houston and West Virginia. I feel like this one doesn't need much of an explanation. Houston's been by far the best team in the conference, and so I think they're going to win this one. Texas Tech and Baylor. Texas Tech is a sneaky March Madness pick, in my opinion. Joe Lunardi's got them as a projected 2 seed right now. They feel like way more underrated than a 2 seed because I just feel like nobody talks about them. But we can't forget, this is the only team that's beaten Houston in the Big 12 this season, and they did it at the Houston Stadium. Um, so they're a really, really underrated team. Taking on a Baylor team who I said's underperformed, but they're still solid, can play spoiler. But I like Texas to get Texas Tech, sorry, to get this one. Kansas and Arizona, these two teams just played. It feels like we're getting a lot of rematches from the last week of the regular season. Um, Kansas won. That was at Kansas. Nice way to send off their seniors. Dickinson in his like 10th year of college basketball. KJ Adams, DeJuan Harris, Zeke Mayo. That's been a good senior class for them. Unable to get as much done as I'm sure they would have liked, but they got another chance here against an Arizona team who has played very well in their first year in the conference. They finished second in the standings, so that's very good for them. Sorry, but I do like Kansas to get the upset pick here over Arizona. Then in the semis, the rematch of the championship game last year, Houston and Iowa State. You already know that Houston is going to be coming into this game with some fire. These two played a really good game earlier in the year when both Keyshawn Gilbert and I think Curtis Jones were both out. So it was a little bit hard for Iowa State, but they still played them close at Houston. So I think Iowa State definitely has the potential to win this game. Um, but I am going to go with Houston to win this one, get revenge, and get back to the title game. Then in the other semi, Texas Tech versus Kansas, I think this is where Texas Tech kind of outclasses Kansas and their miscues come back to haunt them. I think they're going to have a hard time guarding off the ball with these dynamic guards like Chance McMillan. So I'm going with Texas Tech to get to the final. Then Houston versus Texas Tech. This one should be an entertaining one. Houston, like I said, lost to Texas Tech earlier in the year, but then they avenged their loss on Texas Tech's home court. So it's really a 1-1 split right now. This is the tiebreaker. And Houston, I just love the way that they have so many options. Okay, first of all, defensively, they're one of the best teams, if not the best, in the nation. And then you add on the fact that their offense isn't necessarily super dynamic, but it's slow and controlled, and they have guys that they can rely on, especially, Jawan Roberts, LJ Cryer, even Milos Uzan has started to play. It's kind of starting to become the Jamal Shed that this team had last year that they've kind of been missing this year. So I think they're one of the most complete teams in the country. I definitely think they're the most complete team in the Big 12. And although this one is going to be close, I'm going with Houston to win the Big 12 championship. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. If you agree, disagree, of course, I would like to hear your guys' opinion, but I got Houston winning this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.